We'll go right into our council agenda, city council agenda. If you would, please stand with me as we give a pledge of allegiance to the flag, followed by the invocation tonight given by Councilman Dean Argo. Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you bow with me, please? Gracious and loving Father, first of all, Lord, let us tell you how much we love you. We thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to gather this evening. Lord, we thank you for the gift of this day. Lord, we thank you for the opportunities that you've laid before us today and tonight, and those that you will lay before us in the future. Lord, we thank you for your Son, Jesus. We thank you for the opportunity to be in positions where we can affect the changes that help our city move forward. Lord, we thank you for those that are here tonight that are going to be part of our proceedings, that will watch what we do. And Lord, we ask that you lay on their hearts, that they put on our hearts, Lord, when we can do things differently and do things better in your sight. And Jesus, we always thank you for those that wear the uniform of our country, Lord, that make it possible for us to be free here this evening. Lord, continue to watch over them, watch over their families, give them peace and comfort, and return them safely to their homes. And Lord, as always, we thank you again for your Son, Jesus, for it's in his name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Councilman Striplin. Here. Councilman Wood. Here. Councilman Argo.
Here.
Councilman Miller. Here. Councilman Reniger.
Here.
Councilman Bowles. Here. Councilman Faint. Here.
We will call the meeting officially to order at 6:05 p.m. on August the 16th. Character trait of the month is flexibility, adjusting plans or ideas without being upset. I have to remind my wife of that. Don't tell her I said that, please. This time the chair will entertain approval of the minutes of the public hearing and city council meeting of August the 2nd, 2011. Are there any questions or any amendments to these minutes before we move to approve them? Chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Argo. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Striplin. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes signify by raising your right hand. Any opposition by like sign? Seeing none, the minutes are approved. This time, the council will entertain comments from persons regarding items on tonight's agenda only. If you have anything to bring before the council pertaining to agenda items, tonight's agenda items, now is the time to do it. Is there anyone that would like to address the council on any agenda item? Seeing none, Mayor, we'll move into your report.
Thank you. To start off my report, I'd actually ask that Gene Hall come up and help me out with a report from the Fair Committee. She'll come on up.
We welcome Mr. Hall. He's a former council member. It's always good to see our former public servants with us.
Thank you so much. You know, I issued a challenge to all the civic organizations in town. We would match anything up to $2,000 for the humane shelter. Well, I got good news and bad news. I got one donation for $50. And I'm going to match that myself, a personal check. So I'm going to give this to our Paul Littlefield, our association president.
On behalf of the Autauga County Fair Association and the Autauga County Fair, it's our pleasure to present the Autauga Humane Society with a check for $2,000.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
That's one of the kind of reports you like to hear, isn't it? But thank you for coming up, Mr. Gene Hall. Well, one thing I'd like to go ahead and say is that our orientation and school mornings that we recently have survived, talking with Chief Huggins, that we were able to cover all of our normal routine areas to help keep the traffic moving. I know firsthand, Monday morning, the first day of school, I was able to go up Main Street over here without hardly a little blip at all. And then normally in the past, it has been a very difficult track to meet, but I will have to commend our police department, our school crossing guard for pulling together on that and being able to help the school get their traffic moved in and out. And so I do want to say thank you on that. Also, I want to go ahead and talk about our city employees, how well that I think they have really been pulling together right lately, not just one particular group. You know, I could single out the sanitation or the wastewater or the police or the fire, but just the whole family group of the employees of the city of Prattville have really been pulling together right lately, still multitasking, cross-training. We have been through some very difficult times, just like the whole global economy has seen, and then all in all, I think Prattville has come out to have a little bit of wear on us, but I truly believe that we are a lot further ahead of the curve than the nation or the world in general. But I do want to say thank you to those city employees for that. I also want to talk about the LPGA media day that we had just yesterday at RTJ. Look forward to LPGA coming back to town. We have a lot of work to do before they're ready, before they do get here. But I do have quite a few areas there that we will be covering. The city crews have done an excellent job in the past, and I feel for certain that they will definitely be doing that same quality of work, if not even better. We're having to improvise a little bit more this year, just trying to reuse or redo what we have done in the past to make all of our out-of-town guests that are coming here, to make them welcome. And this is a point in time that it can be a showcase for the city of Prattville. And I hope that each and every one of you guys will be coming. And one of the announcements they did have at the media day at RTJ was that now there's not going to be an admission charge to get in the gate. You can just come in and hopefully have a donation for the Wounded Warrior event. And so I do hope that each and every Prattvillean can come up and show for that, show their support for the military, show their support for the LPGA, and just to remind everybody that this is a time that whether you're a golfer or not, please come out, see what golf is about. You might get the bug. It might be too hot. You might not want to get the bug. But anyway, please come out to that event, and if you get on our city website, you'll find out a little bit more about our LPGA. We actually have a counter on the city website having the exact date, the time, the days, the time, the hours, the minutes, the seconds to our first tee time on that. But please get on the city website and check that out and participate in that event any way that you can. I know we normally have a couple of council members who volunteer for that section for that weekend. I don't know if they'll still be doing that this year or not. I do applaud you for that. I have personally been a caddy during that event. I have been a volunteer. I have signed up to be a volunteer. Then I've actually been drafted as a volunteer straight out of the stand. So, but to me, the LPGA event really helps bring the community together, and brings a lot of revenue back into our community. And I look forward to them coming, hopefully for many years to come. Matter of fact, the next budget that I will be presenting to you guys, I do have LPGA back in there to be funded for the next year on that. So, in talking about the budget, I do have a budget pulled together, and I will be asking that we have a work session, so that way we as a body can meet on that and discuss it, and have our department heads before us there. And so, with indulgence of the council, if you could set up a time and a date on that, the mayor and his staff will be ready to show what we will be presenting. After that comment, I want to briefly touch on about our fire chief selection. We had a great number of applicants on that. I pulled together a small team to look over all those applicants, and we narrowed it down to roughly 6 applicants on that. And we have narrowed that list of 6 down to a smaller list. But tonight, I do not plan on presenting those names to you guys. I do. Hopefully, we also have to pick and choose a police chief. And I had planned on going through the same process on that, utilizing a different team to find the the police chief selection on that. And my plans are to present both police and fire nominations to you guys, hopefully at the next council meeting. And then at that point in time, because to remind everybody up here, I guess you call them the rules of engagement are that I am, as mayor, supposed to present 2 or more names to the council for consideration. And then after that, it's up to this body to choose from that list. So I will plan on presenting both police and fire at the next council meeting if our police chief is chosen or that list is chosen at that time. But those are my two big plans for us in the very near future, our budget and our chiefs. And besides that, that's pretty much the end of my report.
Any questions for the mayor? Councilman Miller?
Could you give an update on the work to, I guess, the Togga Creek volunteer group and where they are? And I understand there's some people in the audience. Earlier, I wasn't quite sure I got an answer to my question about whether it had been cleared or not. So maybe with some of the other folks here who are closer to the project, I can get an answer to that.
Are you talking about your answer from 2 weeks ago?
Yes, sir.
Well, I hate to put Iris on the spot, but if she'd like to come up and see if she can answer your questions, which I know I've been down it, and it could be viewed as a challenge by some people, and other people will say that it's a cakewalk. But creek walk, yes. But anyway, let's see what Ms. Iris has to present to us.
For the record, would you identify yourself in the microphone, name and address, please?
Hello, my name is Iris Courthauer, and I want to thank the mayor for allowing me to come and educate y'all on what we're trying to do with the Togga Creek Improvement Committee. I brought a map today so that y'all can see where the creek trail is. And it basically starts at Pratt Park behind the pond at what we all know in Prattville as the old swimming hole. And then you can see the red line where I took nail polish and kind of extended it up towards the dam. Because if you'd like to tube or if you'd like to kayak, you can actually put in there. And sometimes you can canoe from there too if the water's deep enough. And then it trails and exits all the way down by the wastewater treatment plant. The city actually has a park down there that is the canoe exit point. There are several different access points, and I'd like to start calling them access points versus, entrances and exits, because you can start anywhere you want to on the creek and you can get out wherever you want to. What we've done in the past, we've had about 4 meetings as a committee, and we've had 1 creek cleanup day, and I believe that you can kayak or canoe down the creek and not have to get out of your kayak or canoe. That doesn't mean that yesterday a tree didn't fall, okay? And there's still plenty of work that needs to be done. And we have a cleanup day weekend actually prepared for August 27th and 28th, where we've gotten cooperation from Drew Peterson in order to drop the level of the water so that we can get in there and take out trash, take out tires, take out metal objects. And let me pass this around real quick, because we were featured in the Prattville Progress. You can take one and pass them down, please.
Okay.
But we were featured in the Prattville Progress, and you can see some of the trash that was actually pulled out with the backhoe. Phil Nolet from Prattville Power Sports helped us out with that, and he's going to help us out in the future, too. So that was the number one thing. Let's get in there. Let's see what needs to be taken out. Let's do the initial clearing of all the trees, everything in the creek. We're not going up on the banks and not going onto private property. We want to focus strictly what's in the creek and try to do some improvements maybe on city property, improve parks, by including picnic tables, barbecue grills, and things like that down the line. Our future plans are dreaming. I know that. The creek actually starts about 22 miles north of the dam. So some people have asked, can we start at about County Road 10 and clear it and come on down? The creek ends, obviously, in the Alabama River, and that's another whole project. So right now we're trying to focus between the dam and the exit point, which is 4.1 miles, and that's plenty of work to do. And like I said, people are out there having fun. We have a Facebook group page called the Autauga Canoe Trail something. Darn it, I forgot. And I've given my business card out to everyone here. Y'all have my name, so if you'd like to become members out there to keep in touch with what's going on, you're more than welcome to join us, because we're trying to use Facebook, email, phone numbers. We had 40 volunteers out for our cleanup day, which I think is tremendous. We had CBS 8 News out there, and they featured us on the news. Like I said, Prattville Progress gave us tremendous support. There's a small article up there that you can read afterwards to show that that they helped us out and they're supporting us. We have a potential opportunity to appear on public radio. So what I'm asking from the council is basically your support to help get the word out, talk it up, let people get in touch with me. The second thing I'm asking is to keep me straight and keep me out of jail and keep me out of trouble. And I've brought member volunteers here today with me tonight to help in that respect too. If I do something that's not right, let me know. I'd rather find out and stay out of trouble, And then I'd also ask that you keep an open mind. Instead of just saying, nope, can't do that, come up with a solution. Tell me how I can get around the roadblock, because I don't believe in roadblocks. I believe in getting around the mountain and getting around the logs. So, any questions?
Any questions? Comments? Councilman Bowes?
I was going to say, I'm really glad y'all are working on this project, because when we were kids, and I say we, it's me and Officer Allen back there, and my brother Ron put in a canoe, and decided we were going to canoe. We walked most of it. I don't know how we didn't get snake bit, but that's the reason God protects boys, because you do stupid things. But I'm really glad, and hopefully when y'all are done, me and Officer Allen and Ron can get in a canoe one more time and go back down that creek again.
Well, we're planning a trip again on Sunday morning around 10 o'clock just to see again what's happened. And I take my grandbabies down to the creek behind the city. And when I talk to people about the creek, that is what I hear all the time is, oh, I used to do this and I used to do that. And, to me, that's what it's all about. And my grandbabies absolutely love the creek, and that's kind of the motivation of getting involved, is to pass it on to the next generation. And I hear that all the time. So let's bring it back. And it's free. If you got your kayak, you got your canoe, and that's what we need in today's budget, because nobody's got money. Right?
Correct.
Thank you.
Comments or questions? Thank you so much.
Well, I would like to reiterate a little bit on that also, and also thank Iris and the crew that have really stepped up to help promote this, the canoe trail. And probably what I'll might end up doing is giving a little bit of history about the canoe trail at some of our upcoming meetings. I know there's a lot of history down there that people are not really familiar with. Right off the top of my head, I think the canoe trail was started roughly somewhere in '89, and then it just seemed to fall off the radar for a little while, but obviously it's back on the radar now. I had actually pulled a committee together to look at the short and long-term plans of the canoe trail. The one area or entity that I've actually also trying to, say, piggyback with has been the Leadership Autauga Committee. They had started a project a few years ago about selling paver bricks to be connected with our creek walk that's directly behind City Hall. And I'm working with them trying to coordinate an effort between the City of Prattville, Leadership Autauga, to help finalize their program and hopefully tie it in with ours and be able to help create a little friendlier area back in that section, not to mention also have a little control. We have a little erosion problem back in that way, and so that way we can tie the two projects together and be pretty much at a no cost to the citizens of Prattville. Iris and her committee have pulled together. They are a separate committee from what I have pulled together, but they're able to do some things, that the city themselves cannot do. But they are going down into the creek, and they're doing the basic cleanup. But I look forward to working with them. I have not made it to the last couple of meetings, but I do look forward to working with Iris and her crew and everybody else who is involved with it. But the city's portion of it, there again, to reiterate on that, is the city's portion is we're working mostly on the short and long-term plans, have this erosion problem taken care of, and just a beautification of it. But Iris and them have done an excellent job. Look forward to talking with her some more and see some bright future for the canoe trail. That's all.
Any other questions for the mayor? Councilman Wood?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mayor, if you will, I would appreciate if you would speak to the entire body before you relinquish the platform concerning the situation up at Spanish Oak and North Court. It's been an ongoing project for years, and now we have a bigger problem, and I would like for you to speak to them.
Yes, sir, and thank you for bringing that up to me. I was up there again today. It's at that intersection. We did have a small sinkhole to come in. It is a project that I do have involved in or incorporated into my 2012 budget. It's something that we're going to have some engineering plans released on real soon, trying to move forward with that project. They have stabilized the area. The city engineer and I will be getting together tomorrow to see if there's additional areas that we can stabilize, and if not, there's a possibility we might have to have an emergency resolution to have that section repaired. But it has been an ongoing problem, but the recent rains have really showed us exactly how big of an ongoing problem that it is. But I do see some plans in the very near future having that situation resolved in the near future.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess for those who haven't visited and may not know exactly what he's speaking about, I know you all remember the sinkhole out east out there. What we're talking about is a sinkhole problem, gentlemen. That it's not quite that size, probably 1/4 to 1/3, but that's a problem when you got something that size. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Any other questions of the mayor? Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
We're going to move into the report on the status of the city finances. Doug?
I put a revenue and expense report in front of you on everybody's desk in front of their mics. I'll start with the revenue report. It's really very similar to last month. We are still about $2.6 million ahead of last year. With the 1 cent increase in, that's a 10.6% increase over last year. If you actually take the 1% out, which is $933,000, we are still up 6.93%. So that's very, very good news, especially in the economy that we find ourselves today. Most all of the line items are running according to budget, if not over budget, which is a good thing when you're talking about revenues. If you look at the total of percent of budget, it's at 83%, and we are 83.33% through the year. So that's a very, very good thing. It means we're running right in line with what we budgeted. If you look over it on the expense report, again, it's very similar to last month's. The same departments are over for the exact same reasons. Again, the executive department is over due to the car allowance. The finance department is over due to the audit, which I believe I spoke with. We passed the resolution last meeting where we have renegotiated our contract with Jackson & Thornton for a much lower price, so that should alleviate some of those problems in the future. City clerk department is over due to insurance costs, liability insurance costs. Judicial is over primarily due to the jail, and in doing the budget, I actually or working on the budget, I actually came across some interesting information. As I've told you gentlemen before, the bill for the jail is in two separate parts. There's a rent portion that is pretty stable every month. There's also a usage portion, depending on how many inmates the city has in the jail. The usage portion is not budgeted in the judicial, but that is where we post the usage portion. However, the entire amount of the jail contract is budgeted in debt service. So it is a budgeted expense. It's just broken out differently the way we post it and the way it's budgeted. Does that make sense? If you look at it in total, it's completely budgeted, but we separate it out when we post it. That has been changed in the new budget, so it should reflect it the same way that we post it. You'll see engineering salaries expense is over budget. That is due to the engineering department absorbing the street department. And as you'll see, the street department is well under budget because of that same reason. And that is pretty much it.
Any questions for Mr. Mosley? Councilman Bowles?
Looking at the last, I love what you're doing here again. I say that every week. But the last page is the one I like to concentrate on. On that very bottom line, the total. It looks like we're at 96% of our budget with 2 months left to go.
Yes.
It looks to me it takes about $3,200,000 a month to run the city. Is that correct?
Yes.
And we've got less than $429,000 left for the budget. So we will go over budget. Am I looking at that correctly?
Yes, but that is primarily, well, that's the reason it's going to be over budget is due to debt service because the payments of the two bridge loans were not budgeted.
How much were those?
3.1 and just under $1 million.
So $4 million.
Yes, sir.
Wasn't budgeted. Those will be in the budget next year, or are we going to get away from the bridge loans?
We will more than likely have to take a partial bridge loan for the first one, just because we haven't had the 1 cent sales tax in place for long enough, but we should not have to have a second bridge loan at the last part of the year.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Mosley? Councilman Argo?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mosley, where do we stand on the second bridge loan as far as paying it off?
We lack exactly $300,000. I should be paying that this week.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Councilman Miller?
The question that I have asked, and I guess has worried me more than anything, is, it looks like we're on track and we've done a lot in terms of cutbacks. We've done a lot that have affected, city departments, individual employees, capital, the whole 9 yards, both in and out of HR, personnel sorts of areas. But do we know if we have done enough to position the city on sound financial ground? And I asked that question sort of in my mind in terms of if the 1 penny sales tax didn't exist, since it's obligated for debt service. Do we really know if we've done enough?
Well, from my position, we never stopped doing. We're continuously looking at ways to cut costs and excess that's in the budget that we're spending, extra things that we don't have to have that just have been overlooked, and we're constantly cutting those and finding new ways to cut costs.
That's good, but even when you include those in the assessment and add them into the equation about whether or not we're doing enough, have we really answered that question?
I don't think we'll ever be doing enough. I mean, we're constantly working to try to dig ourselves out, and I mean, it's going to be a continuing effort to do that. Did you have something there?
Mayor, did you want to weigh in on that?
I'm not sure I've relinquished the mic yet, Mr. President.
Sorry, Councilman Miller.
Again, my question is, I'm sorry you sort of distracted my attention there. Could you again repeat what you just said?
I don't think we'll ever have done enough. I mean, there's always things on the table that we can do to improve the city's finances.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would disagree with that. We always need to be looking for efficiencies in areas that, need to be.
Are you asking me, do we need to make more cuts in the budget? If that's what you're asking, then yes. I mean,
I'm asking you if we really have a sound handle on whether or not we need to make more cuts so that the city is on solid financial ground.
well, I think we still have some more cuts to make. I think that's what you're wanting me to say, and then with that we do. We have some ways to go.
So I guess another question would be, do we know the magnitude of those cuts? And I'm not talking about individual items. I'm talking about what dollar amount would we need to look at in terms of having a sound footing. Do we know?
If we want to really have a sound footing, we can have a zero budget, and it would be great. But I mean, being that I don't have a crystal ball and I don't know what tomorrow is going to hold, we could have a sinkhole, and I mean, then we'd really be in a bind, a huge sinkhole like it was on Cobbs Ford Road. But like I said, we've still got a long ways to go. We still have cuts that we need to make. I do not have an exact dollar amount.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Renner.
Have you finished, Council? Yes, sir. Okay. Mayor, would you like to respond to that now that Councilman Miller has relinquished the floor?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Doug. You've been doing a great job, and I know it's your job to present these numbers, and I do thank you for that. My opinion, yes, sir, we still have a long ways to go. We've come a long ways in a very short period of time. We still have, obviously, some cuts that we're still going to have to be making. We're working very diligently to find those cuts, everything from workman comp insurance and health care for our employees. We're trying to find ways every day to reduce that number because both of those numbers affect our personnel numbers directly. We're also looking at, right off the top of my head, our IT department that we're reanalyzing all the different areas that the internet connectors, for example. We think that we've been having a redundancy in that area that we feel like we might be able to reduce one of those and save $42,000 there. Not only this gentleman here is he's a little bit of a jack of all trades. Not only is he finance director, but he has a IT background also. So he's been able to help us move along a little bit with that. And recently he told me that we're still in the preliminary portions of it. And these are small numbers, but there again, we're trying to cut and shave everything that we can because every nickel and dime adds up to $1. But anyway, recently he just found that we have been paying $900 a month for a service from our annex to service City Hall over here. That's a wireless service. Well, they're telling me that we already have a cable. All we have to do is hook the cable up and do away with our wireless server. So anyway, there's several things that we're still looking at. We're working very diligently there, trying to find each and every kind of way there. But we are on, to use one of your terminologies, we are still on razor's edge. And we will have to have more cuts, some shape, form, or fashion.
Councilman Miller.
And I appreciate all that. I really do. And I know city individually and departments and groups, everybody has really done a yeoman's job moving in that direction. So, and I applaud you for continuing to look. Again, my question is, do we know when we've reached the milestone that we need to reach in terms of the quantifiable amount that will set the city on a solid financial foundation?
That's going to be a very difficult question to answer because we're at this point in time. If you're looking for a dollar amount, I can give you an approximate dollar amount, in my opinion. But we're still, I guess you can say the jury is still out on that. But we're streamlining everything. And if you want me to give you a dollar amount here in public forum, I'll be glad to. But right now, we're still putting the fight up to streamline, to control all of our costs daily, and we are on razor's edge.
Thank you.
Councilman Bowles?
Mayor, what I would like to see, I drew a little diagram real quick. It's a pie, $33 million.
Yes, sir.
Once that pie is gone, we can't go to our neighbors and get a piece of their pie. How much money are we going to be over in this pie this year? And how much money, dollar figures, do we need to take it back so we can eat our own pie? I would like to have those figures before the budget hits. So if our budget's going to be more than the pie is going to be, I need to know that before I vote on it. And if it's going to be more, I need to know how to get it down to our number so that everybody that feeds off this piece of pie can eat a piece of the pie. Does that sort of make sense for you?
I understand. I understand exactly what you're saying, and we'll be glad to have those figures for you. One area that we have, like I say, been striving for is that the deadline on the 1 penny cent sales tax is the deadline on there.
Right.
And where the budget that I will be presenting will be a budget that's reflective of the road that we've been going down and the road that we're trying to the end of the road that we need to go to. But there will be some very difficult decisions we're going to have to be making in the near future.
That's what they pay you the big bucks for. Thanks.
Thank you.
Councilman Fink?
Yeah, I guess kind of to follow along with what Dr. Miller was saying, I guess one of the questions that I've got, I fully expected that we'd be taking out a bridge loan. Doug, I guess more. I fully expected we'd be taking out some form of a bridge loan to cover the bonded indebtedness that we have due in November. And you're telling me that we're not going to have to borrow money, not anticipating borrowing any money to do a bridge loan for the second payment. Given the fact that the May deadline for the sales tax, it is a deadline unless I think 4 members of the council voted in favor of that. They can vote to extend it if they want to. That's always a possibility, so it may not go away. Do you anticipate, with the ending of that in May and with what the budget looks like laying out there, that we're going to have the reserves to not have to take a bridge loan out in November of 2012?
That's what we're striving to do, is to not have to do one in the next November 2012.
Gentlemen, continue to ask your questions if you like. That's one of the reasons why I am going to call a work session before the mayor presents his budget, so we have a chance to thoroughly explore all the details of his proposed budget before he presents it. But feel free to continue to ask questions if you like tonight, but we are going to go over all of that in our work session. Are there any other questions? Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, we'll go into reports from the council members on special committees. Councilman Strickland.
No report.
Councilman Wood.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Public notice, the Public Safety Committee will meet at 5 p.m. on Tuesday, September the 20th at City Hall. The purpose of this meeting is to discuss traffic cameras. If anybody have any questions, they can contact me. I think all the parties have been contacted. We canceled the meeting that was supposed to be held earlier, but this meeting will be September the 20th, 5 p.m. at City Hall. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Wood. Councilman Argo.
Yes, sir. Quickly, 2 committee reports. First, the wastewater committee. We have met with our consultant, Goodwin Mills and Kaywood, on several occasions, and we also met at the plant recently. The consultant met with Rick Teague and with the mayor, went over preliminarily some of the findings of the report. The report is now being reduced to writing. It will be ready for us at our next meeting. I think you're going to see some interesting facts that will come from that meeting. Also today, in relation to that, I had an Energy, Environment, and Natural Resources Committee meeting at the League, and one of the presentations was by the Alabama Department of Environmental Management, which they tell me that they still have some money available for some upgrades, including upgrades to our collection system, which according to the consultant is our biggest area of need. So it's a possibility where we might be able to qualify for some low interest money that the federal government supplies to the state, which then supplies to municipalities. So we might have not only information that will let us know what our needs are, but we might also have an avenue that allows us to access those funds. And the good news for us is that the Department of Environmental Management, they do not require us to pay back that money, to start paying back that money for 3 years. So it is an opportunity for us to not only get some things done immediately, but also be able to put off paying it back 3 years into the future, which hopefully with Mr. Mosley and the mayor's and the council's help, we'll be way past our difficulties, and we'll be able to make sure that our wastewater facilities are not only in the condition they need to be, but also that we have them financially stable as well. Also, I have not received a report yet from our other consultant, Jackson Thornton Utilities, about our rate study, but they did have 90 days to complete that, so we still have some time for that. The second report that I have is on the redistricting committee. You have 2 items before you this evening. One is the ordinance which restructures the committees, restructures the council districts, I'm sorry. I'm going to ask that we introduce that this evening, and then, Mr. Chair, as at the last meeting, I'm going to ask you at our last item on our agenda, item number 5, which is setting a public hearing to receive comments on that proposed plan. In the meantime, Mr. Duke and Teresa will be able to get that up on the website. People will be able to go to that, be able to look at the map, and it gives them plenty of time to formulate their interest, their comments, and then when we come to the public hearing on the 30th of August, they will have everything that they need to bring to our attention, and then hopefully we'll be able to adopt the plan, whatever it may be, whatever it looks like, at our first meeting in September. So, Mr. President, that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Argo. Councilman Miller?
Yeah, that fire committee met last Tuesday evening. We had a real good meeting, basically covered 2 main areas. One was a sort of a preliminary review of the proposed budget for the fire department, and the chief and his associates are working really hard, and it was evident in the budget that they are aware of the financial challenges that the city's facing, and certainly willing to do their part in terms of looking for those efficiencies that we mentioned earlier. The other thing that we talked about is the ambulance contract with the county, and basically it was a refinement of some of the information we've shared with the council before, but the direction we're going is looking at costing out what we ask the county to pay based on their ratio of total calls, the ones that are delivered to the county, and applying that to operational cost. And that is the direction we're going. The fire committee supported that direction for both the department and the mayor to proceed with the negotiations, which I think you're aware have already sort of been underway. And they'll continue those in that regard. So if you have questions about that or concerns or suggestions, please let me know.
Thank you, Councilman Miller. Councilman Bowes?
Yes, sir.
Councilman Fink?
Yes, sir. Actually, just to let you guys know, the Leisure Services Committee has met a couple of times now, and really the primary focus has been reviewing opportunities to reduce some of the expenses that we've got associated with Friday night football games, and we've been able to successfully work with the Board of Education. They are picking up some of those expenses that we've historically had in the past. It's still a bit of a work in progress, but I'd say some great strides have been made in helping to reduce the cost that we bear on a Friday night. So that'll be a positive thing. And we've also met, I guess, on a couple of occasions with respect to urban management, and I would recommend that when we get the budget in front of us that we take a good hard look, because they're in desperate need for help. And I guess I would put a caution out there that even with the golf tournament coming up, it's going to tax that department even more as they do kind of put out there as a showcase for our community. So I'm not sure if there's plans to get them some temporary help in the short term leading up to, or readjustment of some personnel or whatever. But I think that department has more on it than it can adequately do now, given they can't even keep up with the maintenance right now because of how short-staffed they are. So I would encourage y'all to take a good hard look at that department. We desperately need some help in that area. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Fink. The Finance Committee for the City of Prattville met last night to get a first review of the proposed budget, the mayor's proposed budget for 2011 and 2012. It once again is a very lean budget. It's well organized. Obviously, it took a lot of work. It showed me that the committee structure that we have in place, along with the committee chairs and especially the department heads, have stepped up and worked very closely with the mayor. And I will be calling I am calling a work session to discuss the proposed budget for 2011-2012 for August the 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Doster. The public is invited, but it is a work session. It's not a public hearing. We'll get into our agenda. The first item is a resolution to declare various wooded lots to be a public nuisance and ordering their abatement per Title 11, Chapter 67 of the Code of Alabama, 1975, as amended. Mr. Wood, will you introduce this resolution, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Whereas an abundance of overgrown grass and weeds, one, is injurious to the public health, safety, and general welfare by providing a breeding ground and shelter for rats, mice, snakes, and mosquitoes and other vermin. Two, may cause the further spread of weeds. Three, may hide debris such as glass or metal that could inflict injury on a person going to such property. And four, may also pose a fire hazard and respiratory hazard. And whereas the City Council of the City of Prattville declared in Resolution Book 2011, page 121, that the abundance of overgrown grass and weeds at various addresses in the City of Prattville constituted a public nuisance and set a public hearing to discuss said nuisances. And whereas notice as required by 11-67-62 of the Code of Alabama 1975 as amended was provided in the Prattville Progress by certified mail and by signage on the subject property. And whereas the Prattville Planning Department has inspected the properties listed in Resolution Book 2011, page 121, adopted on July 19, 2011, and determined that the public nuisance still exists. And whereas the City Council of the City of Prattville held a required public hearing at 6 p.m. on August 16, 2011, permitting the owners of same properties listed in Resolution Book 2011, page 121, to present evidence, objections, and protests regarding the proposed removal of weeds. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Prattville declares that the abundance of overgrown grass and weeds on the properties continue to be a public nuisance. 156 Durden Road, 115 Melmar Drive, vacant lot next to 307 Fisk, vacant lot next to 629 Lower Kingston Road, vacant lot Easy Street and Upper Kingston, 708 Waverly Lane. Be it further resolved that the mayor shall have the overgrown grass and weeds on the property listed above cut or removed using city forces or the private contractors listed in Attachment A. Any property owner shall have the right to have any weeds removed at his or her own expense, provided the removal is done prior to the commencement of work by employees or agents of the City of Prattville. The mayor shall keep an accounting of all costs related to the removal of overgrown grass and weeds and report such costs to the City Council following their removal. Mr. Chair, I so move.
Councilman Wood has moved this resolution. Is there a second? Second. Second by Councilman Fink. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Sir? Sir, we've already had our public hearing on this.
I have tried to contact the city planning board, and the young lady that I can talk to, that I referred to, has been out for the past 3 days. I came in person yesterday, tried to make an appointment, talk to the individual, and I was put off.
We'll address that for you, sir, but if you've already had that property cut, it will be removed from the list and no action will be taken. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you being here. Okay, this resolution has been moved and seconded. Is there any other further discussion about this resolution from the council? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All opposition by like sign. Seeing none, this resolution is adopted. Second agenda item is an ordinance to restructure the council districts into 7 districts and to provide for the election of a council person from each district and to provide for the election of the mayor at large. Councilman Argo, will you introduce this ordinance, please?
Yes, Mr. President. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Prattville, Alabama as follows. Section 1. In accordance with the Code of Alabama and prior agreements resolving civil rights litigation related to voting, the City of Prattville is hereby divided into 7 single-member districts to be designated as District 1, District 2, District 3, District 4, District 5, District 6, and District 7. Section 2. The districts are the areas within the City of Prattville that are enclosed by lines that follow existing corporate limits of the date of this ordinance, center line of streets, roadways, alleys, railroads, or extensions thereof, property lines, streams, creeks, and rivers, or other lines as described in the metes and bounds description of district boundaries included as a part of this ordinance as Attachment 1 and shown on the graphic depiction referred to as Attachment 2. Section 3. At the municipal election in 2012 and every 4 years thereafter, the qualified electors residing in each of the above described districts of the City of Prattville, Alabama, who are entitled to participate in such election shall elect 1 council member to the City Council for that district. Each council member so elected shall be a bona fide elector and must actually reside in the district from which they qualified for election. Each such council member shall hold office for a period of 4 years or until a successor shall be elected and qualified or until such council member shall resign, die, or move their residence outside of said district or otherwise be removed from office. Section 4. At the municipal election to be held in 2012 and every 4 years thereafter, the qualified electors residing in the City of Prattville, Alabama, who are entitled to participate in such election shall elect the mayor from at large. The mayor shall be a bona fide elector of and must actually reside within the corporate limits of the City of Prattville. The mayor shall hold office for a period of 4 years or until a successor shall be elected and qualified or until the mayor shall resign, die, or move his or her residence outside of said city or otherwise be removed from office. Section 5. This law shall not affect the duties, rights, or tenure of office of the existing members of the City Council or the mayor, who shall continue to hold and discharge the duties of said office as incumbent upon them, or as may hereafter be made incumbent upon them by law, until their successor shall be elected and qualified under this law. Section 6. The following places are hereby designated as voting places for each of the 7 election districts in the City of Prattville, Alabama. A. District 1, Prattville Area Chamber of Commerce, 131 North Court Street. B. District 2, First Missionary Baptist Church, 192 7th Street, and Spring Hill AME Zion Church, 303 County Road 4 East. District 3, St. Joseph Catholic Church, 511 North Memorial Drive. District 4, Glenwood Baptist Church, 376 McQueen Smith Road North. District 5, Church of the Living Water, 435 Sheila Boulevard. District 6, Trinity United Methodist Church, 610 Fairview Avenue. And District 7, Doster Community Center, 424 Doster Road. Section 7, All ordinances, including Ordinance 2003-031, 2004-005, 2007-018, and 2008-010, or parts of ordinances that conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed. Section 8, the provisions of this ordinance are severable. If any part of this ordinance is declared invalid or unconstitutional, such declaration shall not affect the part which remains. Section 9, this ordinance shall become effective upon adoption and publication as provided by law and receipt of pre-clearance from the United States Department of Justice, Voting Rights Section. District representation shall become effective the first Monday in November, as stated in Section 11-43-44, Code of Alabama, 1975, as amended. Mr. President, I so move.
Councilman Argo has moved this ordinance. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. Is there any discussion about this proposed ordinance? Councilman Argo.
Mr. President, actually, there can be no discussion unless the rules are suspended, but I would ask for a point of privilege.
You're absolutely right. The chair stands corrected and grants the point of privilege.
Thanks, sir. I'm going to hand out to you copies of the map. Mr. Duke worked with the committee diligently to make sure that we had everything ready for this evening. I want to thank him, but I also want to call to your attention on the front of the packet is a proposed. Got enough? Is a proposed district with the population, the deviation from ideal, the percent of deviation, the total white, total percent district total, the total black, and percent of district total. I've been contacted by a number of individuals who have let me know that that Prattville has a difficult time with our district maps having a contiguous district for District 2. We are well aware of that. That has been a difficulty that this council has dealt with since the court ruled that we had to have that possibility, or a district where a minority has the ability to be elected. So we are aware of that. The committee worked hard on that. You will check and see that the deviation, the highest deviation we have in any of the districts is 2.7% in District 5, which means that there are more people in that district than would be the ideal population, and the less that we have is 2.5% in District 2, which means we do not have as many people in that district as would be ideal. I do want to let the council know that the city of Prattville just does not have a large minority population that lives in one particular area. Prattville is blessed to have a city where minorities live throughout our community. So you can't just go in and carve out a district and say that's going to be your minority district. Prattville doesn't have that. We are blessed to have a city that is diverse in all of our districts. So, Mr. President, I feel passionate about that. I appreciate you giving me the point of personal privilege, but I continue to get emails and continue to get phone messages that we should not have a split district. It's not possible given the court order and given the way our population is spread among the districts. The committee believes, and I hope the committee doesn't mind me speaking for it, the committee believes what we have done and what we have given you is the best effort that we can. And we want the general public now to have the opportunity to address that issue, and if the general public has a better idea or can produce a map that better fits what the city believes is in the best interest, then I give them 100% kudos, and I hope that they're able to do that. But, Mr. President, this is the committee's work. We feel strongly about it, and we look forward to having the discussion on August 30th and then having an opportunity to adopt it on our first meeting in September. Thank you.
As Councilman Argo aptly pointed out to the chair, this ordinance will carry over by point of order to our next regularly scheduled meeting unless there is a move to suspend the rules.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Councilman Wood has moved that the rules be suspended. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Striplin. All those in favor of suspending the rules signify by raising your right hand. All opposed by the same side. Two oppositions. The rules are not suspended. The ordinance does carry over until the next regularly scheduled meeting, and there will be a public hearing scheduled in these chambers August the 30th at 6 p.m. The next 5 items can be put on a consent agenda if the council wishes to do so. Would you like for me to read the items first before you do that? Okay. Resolution to grant a retail beer and table wine license off premises only to James William Thorpe, Senior Vice President and Manager of Dogan Corp., I hope that's right, LLC, doing business as Dollar General Store 3232. Resolution 2 is to grant a retail and table wine license off premise only to James William Thorpe, Senior Vice President and Manager of Dogan Corp., LLC, doing business as Dollar General Store 9570. Third is a resolution to grant a retail beer and table wine license off premise only to James William Thorpe, Senior Vice President and Manager of Dogan Corp., LLC, doing business as Dollar General Store 5726. Resolution 4 is to set a public hearing to declare various wooded lots to be a public nuisance and ordering their abatement per Title 11, Chapter 67 of the Code of Alabama, 1975 is amended. And the last item is a resolution to set a public hearing to receive public comment on the proposed changes to district boundaries. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to put this on a consent agenda. Moved by Councilman Fink. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Bowe. Is there any discussion? All in favor of putting these 5 items on a consent agenda, signify by raising your right hand. Any opposition by a like sign? Now we will vote on the consent agenda as is proposed. All in favor of this is there any other questions about the consent agenda? All in favor of the consent agenda signify by raising your right hand. Any opposition by like sign? I see none. The consent agenda is approved. This time in our agenda, we come to comments from persons present on any item pertaining to city business. Let me remind anyone who comes before us that each individual is limited to 5 minutes to make their comments, ask their questions, or state their case. Is there anyone in the audience tonight that has anything they'd like to bring before the City Council? Yes, sir. Please come forward and state your name and your address for the record. I know who you are, but need it for the record, please.
I'm Carl Vyers, and I live at 139 Till Street in Prattville. All of y'all that comes down Main Street to turn left to go into Pizza Hut, if you look right straight ahead of you, you can't see the cars that's coming this way, which would be probably westbound, because of the shrubbery. I mean, all I asked is would they trim that shrubbery off at the top? Not cut it off, but y'all understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. That would fall under the codes, and I would have to refer to our code enforcement officer or our city planner to see if we could address that for you.
Well, I mean, it's a little bit dangerous.
Yes, sir.
Yes. And one other thing. I noticed on McQueen Smith and 14, that may still be 14 way out there, that we've got cameras up on those lights. What are they for? Does anybody know?
Councilman Miller, would you like to address this?
Everybody knows.
I asked that same question because they look like these security cameras, but that is the modern way. It replaces those little strips on the pavement to tell you when a car comes up, so it's some kind of sonar It's not filming anything.
Well, oh, okay. It's a sonar.
Is Robbie in? Did I do okay, Robbie?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hey.
Any questions or comments? Mr. Bowles, do you want to weigh in on that one? Okay.
But
Thank you so
you'll
much,
see
sir.
them all over the place, all over. That's the modern way of.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. Councilman Wood.
The public notice that I spoke about, Mr. Viles, just for information, is concerning red light cameras and for everybody.
Thank you, Councilman Wood. Would anyone else like to address the council at this time on any item pertaining to the business of the city? Seeing none, our next council meeting, regular scheduled council meeting, is scheduled for Tuesday, September the 6th, 2011, 6 p.m. here in this chambers. I will remind you that we do have a public hearing on the proposed redistricting and a work session on the proposed budget on August the 30th. Councilman Striplin, do you have anything further?
One brief thing. Last night at the Finance Committee, it was obvious that the department heads have worked very diligently in drafting a proposed budget, and I express my appreciation to all of you for your help.
Councilman Wood.
Thank you. As a part of that committee, there's just a work in progress. Thank you, Mayor, for what you've done. Dr. Miller, you made some valid points. We have discussed that, and I'm sure all of that discussion will go further once we have a work session, but it's a work in progress. Thanks.
Councilman Miller.
Just share with the group that I will be out of town September 6th that entire week, so I'll not be with you next council meeting.
Councilman Bowes.
No, sir.
Councilman Fink. Mayor, I didn't mean to overlook you. I was going to save the best for last. You got any closing comments?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you all for being here. At this time, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?